What's up, guys? So I'm thinking about doing some YouTube stuff, and I got a project that I'm working on that I think is kind of cool. I mean, some people are gonna hate on it, but you just know how that is. But I've never really seen it done before, and I don't know, I figured I'd make some videos on it and see if anybody's interested in watching. So it's a Duramax swapped 2010 F250. It had a 6.4 power stroke in it. And I still want to build the 6.4, but I'm doing some suspension stuff to the truck. And I was kind of thinking, I was like, well, I had the motor out of it, and I have another truck with a Duramax that I have the motor out of that too. And the 6.4, it's just a block right now, it's all stripped down. And I had the LB7 Duramax sit next to the truck, and I was like, well, what would it really take to swap it in? And I started messing around with it originally. I just took my gantry and I set the motor into it. And I don't know, it's hard to say. I mean, it fits good, I would say. Like, it seems like everything will work. But the one thing that I was questioning was the transmission. So I don't know if anybody's ever really seen the difference between an Allison 1000 and a 5R110 that comes in these, but the Allisons are way bigger. I can't really show you right now, but so basically what I'm saying is, like, the back of the transmission, the Allisons are like way bigger back here. And I was kind of like, well, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't clear, but I didn't know. I mean, you know, I haven't really seen much on people doing this. So I ended up bolting the trans to it. I put it in, and I was like, it's pretty much touching the bottom of the cab almost. There's some insulation there. I'm probably gonna have to take that out because it's touching insulation. I think it'll clear, but I'm not really sure yet until I pull the insulation off and actually really level the motor and center it all, which I'm actually waiting for right now. I got a laser, so I'm gonna put a laser from the center here, you know, up the cab and center the motor that way. And then, you know, obviously make sure the motor's, you know, level going that way or whatever. Which is the one thing that actually happened, and I never paid attention to, because I guess, like, when you see these motors in a Chevy, you wouldn't really think of this. Maybe some people know this. I haven't personally done a lot of motor swaps, but the motor is like really tilted back. And I was like, okay, well, I jacked up the transmission, and it didn't, I mean, it was touching the cab, and motor was still tilted back. So I was like, yeah, I don't know if it's gonna work unless I did a body lift. Well, after messing around with it and looking at some stuff, I did figure out that that's how it's supposed to sit. The trans pan's perfectly level. So I was like, well, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work. But the only thing that is gonna be tricky is building motor mounts. And I have a way that I'm gonna do it. I mean, I do metal fabrication for a living, so it's not like it's anything to build motor mounts. It's just like, I guess, the process to do it. And you know, obviously when you look down here, I mean, you know, these bolts, this one here, and then these two back here are for the motor mount on the passenger side, which obviously I'm trying to use the motor mounts for the truck. And that is way farther back than where the 4 bolts are for this. Now, basically what I'm gonna end up doing is building like a jig almost. I'm gonna do a temporary motor mount, literally just bolt some tabs to it, bolt the plate to the motor, and then run like metal rod to the tabs, just tack weld it, pull it off, build a jig, and then design my motor mounts from there. Because trying to do it in the truck, I'm sure somebody can do it, I'm sure I could do it, but I really don't want to waste that much time. And I just think this way will be a little more accurate. But obviously I can't do that until I get the motor actually level and in place and where it needs to be. And both the motor mounts are different, so I have to do that for each side, which kind of sucks. But I think it's doable. I mean, I saw one, I've done some research, and I've only seen one Duramax swapped into a Ford, and that was an Excursion, which is pretty much the exact same thing. So I know it can be done. I mean, this is no different basically than Excursion. His motor mounts are different because he had a 6.0 in it, but I think I technically could use those motor mounts anyways. The 6.4 motor mounts are just designed a little different. I actually kind of like these better. I think these will work better for it to do the whole swap. But yeah, basically, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of one of those things that I know is going to get a lot of hate, but I also know some people are going to think it's cool. And like I said, like I'd rather have the 6.4 in it. But I mean, the suspension I'm doing, which I'll kind of show some of it. It's a full bolt-on air ride setup. I don't want to show like too much of my stuff because it hasn't came out yet. But full bolt-on, mini cradle, all that. 4-link in the front. I already have bag mounts that I designed for the front too. And my idea was that some people might sound dumb, but it's kind of an advertising thing. I mean, I've already had a good amount of advertising for my suspension already, but I was like, what would really get that out there? And I figured, you know, I've seen people do different things, swap motors and stuff, and their trucks get posted everywhere. So I was like, yeah, I'll put a Duramax in it, see what happens. You know, there's a very good chance that the truck will get posted everywhere just for the fact that it has a Duramax in it. And how many Duramax F250s do you see? Obviously, I mean, like I said, I do like the 6.4 motor better. And not like comparing motors or anything, just the fact that I've always wanted to build a 6.4. I've had multiple Duramaxes. So they're just not really like, they're cool motors, but I've never had a 6.4 before. This was the first one. And I was planning on doing a full build on it. You know, either single turbo or big compound setup, something, full built motor, all that, which I'm still gonna end up doing, but I figured this kind of gets a truck on the road a little quicker if I can make this happen. Since basically this motor only needs, you know, I needed a head gasket when I got it. So basically I was just gonna refresh the motor, clean it up, powder coat some stuff, you know, front cover, all that stuff's gonna get all powder coated. Head studs, you know, machine work on the heads, whatever. And then, yeah, swap it in and see what happens. I did kind of look into like wiring harness stuff, and I mean, it's not like Duramax swaps are uncommon. Like people have Duramax swapped all sorts of stuff. I mean, I've seen like Duramax swapped Impalas, Camaros, all sorts of things. So, you know, obviously if you look at it that way, it's like, obviously, you know, swapping a Duramax into something can be done. It's like what I guess there's support for, and that's what makes it kind of hard because, you know, it's not like I could just go online and buy Duramax swap motor mounts for a Ford. So I have to build them, which again, no big deal because I'm a metal fabricator. But it's things like that where you can't really kind of look online and get ideas for how somebody did something because nobody's done it really. So, I mean, and I'm not saying I'm like the only one in the world who's going to do this or whatever. And I mean, I guess leave a comment if you've seen or know somebody that has a Duramax swapped F250. Or like a Superduty at least. I did see a Duramax swapped OBS on another big YouTube page, but you know, I'm talking more like Superduty. But anyways, I look more into all that stuff and it all seems doable. I have a whole harness. I have all the computers. I have everything. I mean, this is a full swap straight out of my other truck, which now I have to get a motor for my other truck. Thinking about putting a 6.4 in that actually. It'd be kind of funny. Put the Duramax in this and the 6.4 in the Chevy, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, if this is something that people are interested in seeing more of in like the process of me building this and swapping it in, I mean, I can make more videos on it. I guess at this point, like, I'm not 100% committed to the idea of putting the Duramax in it, but I am kind of committed to at least making motor mounts and at least mounting the motor fully into it. Whether or not I actually, you know, go through all the work of making it a running and driving truck with the Duramax, I'm not really sure if there's a lot of interest in it. you know, and people want to see it, I'll definitely do it. But my mind could change. I mean, I don't know. It's something that I think is cool. It's not like the best idea I've ever had or anything like that. I mean, I wouldn't call it that, but you know, when you talk about swapping motors into these, you think Cummins, right? And that's what I thought was kind of boring about it, is it's like, I could put a Cummins in it, but I mean, what's the fun in that? I've seen more Cummins swaps in the 08 to 10 body style Fords than any other, you know, body style Ford. So I just think that's kind of basic and boring. You know, I want to do something different, be different. So yeah, but yeah, just let me know. I mean, if it's something that, you know, you guys would be interested in seeing more of the process to it. I wanted to film some more stuff before, but there really wasn't much to show, I guess. I mean, the only other things I did before was, you know, set the motor into it, and then I ended up pulling the motor back out, bolting the trans to it, and then setting all that into the truck. But I mean, that's really all I've done so far. There's so much more that can be, or needs to be done. I mean, I guess I'd probably film some of the stuff too, of like how I'm gonna center the motor, how I'm gonna build the motor mounts. You know, I figured some people would like to see that type of stuff too. So if this is something you want to see, leave a comment. If you want to see me make more videos on other stuff, I mean, even videos on just, you know, just doing like all my suspension stuff and all that, you know, definitely let me know, because I'd kind of like to start making some videos. But thanks for watching.